Miss Lizzie. I don't ever smoke the dizzy, but we can always share some ditsies. It's just a cup in time. This song doesn't have to rhyme. Life's all of us, not every moment we can be feeling fine. I wanna share a moment, just a second if you will, maybe even a cup of thrill. We could share this performance. It's tea time, come sit with me.
Well, welcome everybody. Miss Liz in the house. And that's right, we are here, the last episode of October 2025. But guess what? It's Miss Liz's 500th episode today. So this is really incredible that Global Sprout is here and Miss Liz has got her 500th episode out. So thank you guys for all your support and all of you tuning in for the last 6 years. This has really made a huge difference. So I want to get everybody over to Miss Liz's YouTube channel, Spotify, LinkedIn, TikTok, Facebook, all of those good platforms. Like, subscribe, follow, and get these tea times out because they do make a difference one cup of tea at a time. So let's get the disclaimer started and let's get an intro and let's get the guests in here. And today's tea is incredible. It's educating childhood experiences. That's right. We're going to be talking about Global Sprout, but that is Whitney's tea. So let me get started here with the disclaimer. Disclaimer for Miss Liz's Tea Time live show. Miss Liz's Tea Time is a global platform dedicated to sharing real life stories, diverse perspectives, and meaningful conversations that inspire awareness, healing, and connection. I'm Miss Liz is going live using StreamYard. Before leaving a comment during the live broadcast, please grant StreamYard permission to display your name at StreamYard.com. Please be advised that all the content brought forward during any Tea Time show is presented in good faith. However, discussions may include opinions, beliefs, and perspectives that do not necessarily represent the views of Miss Liz or the Tea Time platform. Information shared by guests is based on their own experiences and is perceived to be accurate at the giving time of airing. All guests, viewers, and participants are responsible for using their own judgment when considering any action or decision that may relate to these discussions. Some episodes may cover sensitive topics, including but not limited to trauma, abuse, grief, mental health, and other emotionally triggering subjects. Listeners' and viewers' discretion is strongly advised. Tea Time with Miss Liz is an open discussion forum designed to offer insight, inspire awareness, and create connection. It is not a substitute for professional, medical, legal, or therapeutical advice. If you require professional support, please seek assistance from qualified professionals or trusted resources in your area. If you have any questions regarding this disclaimer or the content of this discussion, you are welcome to contact me, aka Miss Liz, directly at my email at bookingmissliz@gmail.com or visit my link tree at Miss Liz's Tea Time. By choosing to participate in, comment on, or view these live shows, you acknowledge and accept this disclaimer. Your participation is entirely voluntary. I, Miss Liz, welcomes you to join the conversation with an open heart, and if at any time you feel this platform is not right for you, I respect those wishes and decision and welcome you back whenever you are ready. Tea Time with Miss Liz is serving truth and awareness one cup at a time. Now let me give you a little bit on my guest. Welcome everyone to Tea Time with Miss Liz, where stories shape futures and every drop of truth grows something new. Today, a special guest joins our table to help children blossom into global thinkers and compassionate community builders. Please welcome Whitney Dueñas Richardson, founder of Global Sprouts, the monthly subscription box designed to help children explore cultures and from around the world. Each kit brings hands-on craft, recipes, stories, and languages right into their home. Whitney is nurturing young minds to see the world through curiosity, kindness, and connection. She is growing understanding one sprout at a time, showing families that learning about others builds bridges, confidence, and belonging. Grab your cup and your sense of wonder while we travel the world from this very table with Whitney today. Let me get Whitney in here. Welcome, Whitney.
Hello, hello.
It is a pleasure to have you here and a pleasure to have you as my 500th episode. I just think it's perfect timing that Global Sprout is here and we've been doing this for 6 years and 500 episodes. So
first of all, congratulations, Miss Liz. That's amazing.
Well, thank you so much, Whitney. So, Whitney, I want to take you down the little rabbit hole before we start to travel the world. Who was Whitney as a little girl and who is Whitney now?
So imagine waking up one day and you're a parent of a 16-year-old daughter, and you get a phone call, and that phone call says your daughter is dying from internal bleeding. And that was my parents back in 2016. I take that back. An 18-year-old daughter. I can't do my math correctly. And that was me. I was on the table. I was driving to university, hit an overpass, 50 yards of concrete block, and flipped my car. That girl came out of that car accident with a vengeance to do something great for the world. And I was already a high achiever pre-car accident, came out of it and wanted to do something even bigger and better than the path that I was on. And that path was graduating high school at 16, graduated college at 19, opened up my first brick and mortar business at 20. Now I'm 27. I'm on numerous business ventures. If you're an entrepreneur, you know that there's 1,700 different paths you're going to take. And I look back at that little girl that grew up on the island of Guam and loved her family so much, loved the family, like familial community and all of that. And I look at my life now and I say, wow, I've grown so much to be able to provide the same experience 1,000 times better for my children. So I think that's beautiful.
I love that you said that you're coming back with a vengeance. Those are the kind of people I want on Teatime, right? We come back and we fight, man. That's the stories, right? Taking the pain and turning it into a purpose. It truly does plant good golden seeds out there, and I see sprouts growing all over. I've dug deep for this Teatime because I was just like, Global Sprouts. How did that name come about for you, Whitney?
Long story short, hopefully with this podcast episode and live stream, I can actually keep my long stories short. We unfortunately live in Florida on the beach. Last year, Hurricane Helene hit our home. We flooded 5.5 feet of water. My husband is 6'3", so all of his stuff, of course, is up high. All of my stuff was down low. I lost a bunch of like my family heirlooms, all of my daughter's newborn outfits, all of that. And that happened the end of September. And Global Sprouts was born November of last year, Thanksgiving night. It was very important to me. I'm CHamoru and Dutch, and I wanted to raise my daughter to know Spanish. I had a few friends tell me, why am I teaching my daughter Spanish? That's so useless. She'll never need it. There's kindergartners that go into classrooms now and don't know English. And why would I ever teach her about the culture of the Virgin Islands? Is there even culture there? So like little things. Coming from a girl that grew up on Guam, I'm like, do you guys not know me? Like I eat, live, and breathe being CHamoru and from the island of Guam. Like, it's crazy you like have the confidence to tell me these like intrusive thoughts that you have. But long story short, it was the night of Thanksgiving, and I said, you know what? I've had 2 people that I'm pretty close with look me in the face and say that this isn't worth it or it's not worth my time. And at that moment, I said, wow, like there's something really, we're not being raised in the States to understand other people and where they're from. And it's up to me to raise the next generation to not be assholes. So I went out, I tried to search for something that talked about the people of the culture. Very important. There's competition out there that talk about the geography. Quite frankly, I can use ChatGPT or AI or YouTube or a map on a wall to find out where another country is. There wasn't a product that told me, okay, go to France, go to Paris. This is what Parisians wear. This is what Parisians eat. This is how they play. It was always go to Paris, see the Eiffel Tower. I've been there, done that, traveled the world, been to over 36.
And what's so special about the tower?
Yeah, I'm like, it's cool. Yeah, you see.
What else is in Paris that we could get to see besides this tower?
Yeah, maybe learn some French. Like, there's so many things that you could do, and there wasn't anything out there for my daughter who was freshly 2. and me, quite frankly, to explore the culture before I travel places, because that is very important to me to understand who the people are before I travel there. So we built Global Sprouts and launched it in April of 2025.
Well, I like that you use the word asshole, because you know what? We have a bunch of little assholes that are naysayers that always try to take us off course because they don't have the courage to do it themselves.
Always.
You know, that's what it is. And Whitney, and I'm so glad that you just said, you know what? Tough on you. I'm still going to do it. Like, you know, and I think it's amazing what you're doing, because you're hitting the younger ages even before they're getting into school, like 2+ and 8+. So you're hitting that mid range, right? You're not hitting that older range where kids can read a book, and that you're getting them before they even start reading, right? So I think it's really cool what you're doing. And I love flags, because for so many seasons I put the flags of countries on, and I had viewers that were asking me, well, what country is that? Aha, we don't know our flags. Just getting to know flags in general, right?
I think it's a cool part of my story is my husband is American. And when we first met, he'd only been to the Caribbean. And I remember one time I was like, we should go to Mexico City. He was like, absolutely not. It's so dangerous. I took a step back and I've been some really sketchy places that I probably shouldn't have been abroad. But I was like, it's not even safe to walk around in any of the big cities. You have to be overly cautious anywhere in the world of knowing your surroundings, not wearing the flashy jewelry, not carrying a bunch of cash on you. I don't want to get robbed here in Tampa, Florida. I definitely don't want to get robbed in Mexico. I'm not someone that's going to travel somewhere and stick out like a sore thumb. I try my best to blend in as much as possible. So now we've traveled to over, I think it's 7-8 countries internationally together. And I've seen him just flourish and understand how to kind of integrate with the local community, which I think is beautiful. And CHamoru is an Austronesian language, which I like to say it's a blend of Filipino, Japanese, or I guess Tagalog, Japanese, and some Spanish words. Sometimes the words are the same. Sometimes they mean the same thing. Sometimes they don't. But I thought it was really cool because I can see someone walking down the street and hear them and kind of pinpoint where they're like from. So that's been super helpful as I've traveled around. But even hearing my husband now, because now my daughter's growing up bilingual, him talking in Spanish, I'm like, this is the cutest thing that I've ever witnessed in my life, is like seeing someone's perspective just totally change. Just because they didn't have the resources, they weren't taught it growing up. And the reason I did 2+ is A, there was nothing put together for my kid. And B, we get the question all the time, well, my 2-year-old's not going to remember. While you think they may not remember, it will always subconsciously be taught to them in the back of their head. It's easy for them to match, pinpoint colors. And if you start incorporating other cultures at a young age, it's not for them to completely understand what happens in Venezuela. It's for them to pick up one thing out of a box of 8 different items that sticks with them forever. A good example, let's see, in Costa Rica, when we went in March, my daughter is absolutely obsessed with wooden playgrounds now. We had a wooden playground down the hill from where we stayed, played there every morning with the local kids. And if there was anything she took, I was like, I want her to just feel the pure vida, right? And now it's funny because she sees a wooden playground and she immediately, I'm assuming, goes back to that moment, but wants to stop at the wooden playgrounds, always over the plastic playgrounds. And it's something that you don't realize would make such a big difference in their world, but it does. So if it's a recipe that kids like making, then that's awesome. If it's one word in another language that just sticks with them forever, that's what we're out to do, is we're out to raise them to be cautious and understanding of others, more so than, oh, I made a meal from Mexico today. Cool, move on with my day. It's like, okay, now we're incorporating it as a family. We're all learning together. And I think that's the beauty of it.
And I think it's a good way of family time. And the countries that you have so far that I've seen, and you have this on your site where people can submit countries, right? So I think that's cool. So if you go to the website right now, theglobalsprouts.com, and you check out and you see that your country's not there, you can submit it to Whitney and you can get it there. But the countries that you have there is Guam, Australia, Spain, Costa Rica, Lesotho.
Lesotho?
I've never heard of that country, so I want to get a little bit on that one. Netherlands, Mexico, Philippines, Virgin Islands, Cyprus, and Indonesia. I've had all of these countries on Teatime except for that Lesotho.
Lesotho. So this is another fun thing about Global Sprouts. So we write a book about every country. And we write the book based on my daughter traveling there. So when she gets older, we can tell her, hey, like we've traveled to these countries and we write this story based on your experiences. So it's almost like a gift to her when she gets older of, hey, you now have a book on every country you've traveled to, which, I mean, I think that would be amazing if I was gifted that from my parents. So I'm super excited for her to be like 14 and actually understand how sweet and nice that was of us to do for her. But that's a cool thing. And because Guam is a U.S. territory, when I moved to the States in 2013 from the island of Guam, I became Whit from Guam. That's how you can find me on all social media, by the way, within 30 days of landing in North Carolina. And the reason that is no one knew about the U.S. territory. No one knew who Chamorros were. Guam has 3 military bases, which blows my mind. That no one in the States knew about Guam or anything like that. So I said, you know what, as we build these boxes, we should highlight countries that no one has heard of, but also bigger countries, right? Because people want to have a box for Japan because they've been there. We don't have Japan just yet, but it is on our roadmap. Australia is cool. Kids love the kangaroos and the koalas and the wallabies. So what I try to do is stagger them from more known countries to lesser known countries and cultures. And so Lesotho came about because I wanted to do South Africa. Well, I'm researching and, you know, someone, I think it was I don't remember who it was. If you're listening, just remind me if it was you, said, Whitney, let's do Lesotho. And I was like, okay, cool, let's do it. And it's this tiny kingdom in the middle of South Africa on the top of mountains. And the people are Basothian, so it's Basotho. They have Basotho blankets, Basothian dresses. And it's really cool to understand about smaller cultures. And a big part of Global Sprouts' team is we hire someone from every culture to make sure we're being culturally accurate and not appropriating. So we've met people from all over the world. We, at one point, had 12 people on our team. We've kind of scaled that down a little bit now, but we still have connections across the world so that we can provide to our listeners, our subscribers, our purchasers, our social media followers, a true, authentic experience. And that's what we're using our platforms for, is to show that the beautiful part of it is kids in the Philippines play with the same exact toys that people in Indonesia play with and the Netherlands play with. And kids at 2 aren't going to put that together, but us making the box and parents can say, oh, spin tops. It's so cool to see the different versions of spin tops, but also kids all around the world play with the same type of spin tops, just a different variety of them, or they might look different or be painted differently. And I think that's beautiful too.
Well, I noticed when I was looking at some of the boxes, you put the colors of the countries on the crafts and stuff as well, right? Because in those boxes, you have recipes, you have craft, you have language, you have the flags. You know, they're really put together well. And like you said, like there's 8 items, I believe, in each box. Mm-hmm. So why the number 8?
8. We have 4 main pillars that we focus on: authenticity, hands-on, project-based learning, and being able to read something. And so out of those 4, we try to have 2 different items from each of those columns, from each of those pillars in every box. We found that 8 is the perfect amount versus 10 being too much, 6 being too little. So we kind of met in the middle. I wish there was like some underlying reason why I chose the number 8, but there's not. I actually love the number 29, but 29 would be way too many items in a box. So
It would be overwhelming.
that would be like a kit for the entire year.
To be like, we don't need it every month. We got one for the whole year.
Exactly.
I like the number 8 because the number 8, it's like the infinity, right?
Mm-hmm.
I like it. When I was just like 8 items, that's pretty cool. I have a granddaughter who's 4, and I'm just like, oh, I know what I'm doing for Christmas. We did these subscription boxes 2 years ago for all of my kids. So we bought like adult boxes and kids boxes, and then the teen boxes. And we just gave it a trial. Like we bought the 1 month for Christmas. If they liked it, then we would get the 1 year subscription for them. If they didn't like it, well, then we wouldn't, but we tried. Some were fails and some were good. And when I seen your boxes, I was like, absolutely, this is one of the Christmas gifts that's going on Grandma's list. So my little granddaughter's going to love it because she loves learning different languages and she loves trying new things. She uses big words at the age of 4, like authentic and sophisticated. And I'm just like, where do you hear these words? So she's very big on words. So when I seen this, Whitney, and I looked into it after you reached out to me, I was just like, absolutely. We need to get this out for all the little kids. Christmas is coming. This is a perfect gift to start the new year with them, right?
Yep.
So I want to talk to you about, we talked about what's inside the boxes, recipes, crafts, languages. So the recipes, can they be done with no oven, or is everything like?
It depends on the country. Some of them are, we use ingredients that are typically found in a household. So you don't have to go to an Asian market or order anything online. It's ingredients that can be found: flour, sugar, milk, eggs, water, things like that. In any house, some use the stove, some use the oven, some don't need any cooking. It just kind of depends on that culture.
I know there was a recipe for sprinkled French toast, I believe it is.
Oh, yeah. Fairy bread from Australia.
See, I did my homework. I was like stuck on, I was just like, oh my goodness, like, oh, this is so fun. And I love that you're encouraging kids to cook at that age, because some kids are going to become the best chefs out there starting at a young age. If you watch cook-off shows with children, some of these kids, they amaze me on how they know the ingredients, the measurements, everything, because of programs like yours, Whitney. Like, I mean, amazing. We have some questions that have come in, so I want to get those out to you as well. And I want to get into your tea. So let's get into your tea, and then we'll get into the questions, and we'll get a little bit more, because I found out some other stuff that people might not know about. So your tea was educating childhood experiences. Why did you give me those 3 words, Whitney?
Those 3 words mean, to me at least, that, or to my team, we are changing the way that children think about the world. And by utilizing the connectivity, the appreciation, understanding, we're blending all of those together, and starting from a young age, we're able to open their eyes to being a more accepting, and educating from that early age is really where it starts, because everyone has their own opinion, but a lot of that opinion is morphed based on who you hang out with, even starting from a young age. So if we're able to open up their eyes to the entire world, then we're starting to lay that groundwork of understanding other cultures, and being able to walk into a room with different accents and different colors of skin and not seeing anything different, except these are just my people and who I'm talking to today.
So Whitney, I want to get into the first question that came in, and it's, how did your own culture, background, and life experiences shape your passion for storytelling and cross-culture connection?
That's a great one. It shaped it because I came from a tiny island with not the same access that people in the States have. Milk, eggs, gas, all very expensive when you're on a tiny island in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, that everything has to get imported in. And my days after school, I was actually sharing with my American neighbor the other day, I went to a school on top of a hill, and we had a bus system that I think we got out at like 2:00, and the late bus took us home at 5:30. We'd teeter-totter down the hill, hang out with all of our friends that went to the all-boys Catholic school, all-girls Catholic school in like the middle of Agania Heights. And we do that on like Mondays. Tuesdays, we would go in the back of a tiny pickup truck and go surfing or go paddling and watch rugby games. So like my childhood was very different. My sister was 2 when we moved off island, and on her 14th birthday, she looked me down the eyes and said, "Do I get a Louis Vuitton this year?" And I was like, "I worked my hiney off to get mine." No, you don't. I didn't grow up with Lululemon or TJ Maxx's. We had a Ross and a Kmart, the largest Kmart in the world, mind you. But I didn't have access to all the materialistic things that we have in the States now. And I think that helped with understanding money and not trying to show off to your friends or your peers. And I think that like when I moved to the States, it was my senior year of high school, and that was very tough for me. I went from not having to have the expensive things to falling into the rut of, oh, everyone has Lululemon or everyone's has this nice bag. I need to have it too, when I never really quite thought like that. Quickly got out of that because my parents were like, absolutely not. You're not getting a very expensive things like that. That's crazy. So I think just my mindset, was I need to get off this island so I can become an entrepreneur and do something, just because access isn't as great as it is in the States. B, I want to create a company, sell it for a lot of money, move back home and not have to worry about anything, and give back and do charitable things. And then 3 is just understanding that I'm not comparing myself to anyone else. It all comes from within. And that's the most important part.
Well, I seen this video where it says, if I won the lottery, you would see, right? And I could see you doing big things if you won the lottery without even telling anybody you won the lottery.
Exactly.
And that's the way it should be. It shouldn't be like, look at me. Just do it, and then it'll find the right people, right? It'll find the right target audience for that,
Well, Miss Liz, I was thinking today, actually, we moved to Florida, and across the street from us, we have a family that has a daughter that's 2 years older than our daughter. And they're the best of friends. And I was sitting on the couch right before this, and I was like, I really won the lottery with just having a great team and support system around me, monetary wise or not. And I think that's important to note as well, is we're doing this and doing it correctly with our community. And that's really winning the lottery. It's less monetarily. I can give back in other ways. So it's really sweet to be in that place in my life right now.
Whitney, I love the way you think, because you know what? We won the lottery already by just sitting here and having this tea. We're opening doors and opportunities for the young children. And that's what we should be doing, is focusing on the children. They're the next generation. There's enough out there. I'm not knocking down teenagers or adults or young. But the young kids, we got to start with the young ones. Get them to understand that they can cook, they can read, they can try things, and color with the crafts. Like, what kind of crafts are in the boxes?
We have anywhere from painting to coloring to building. The Guam box is super cool. So the ancient wooden boats on Guam are called proas. So we include a proa in the box, and the kids can put it together, and then it'll float, and they can paint it and really see how a wooden boat comes to life.
Oh my goodness. Like a perfect Christmas gift for all of my listeners out there that have little ones, especially the grandmas out there and grandpas that are listening to Tea Time. You guys know who you are. You're on babyboomer.org. Miss Liz knows where her partners are. My partners are on that platform. And this is perfect time to get this out, and perfect time to have you on Tea Time, because Christmas shopping has begun, right? So we have some more questions here that I want to get out to you. What role can parents help play in helping their children become bridge builders between cultures?
Finding the resources. I know a big part of why we're here is the resources we're lacking for the lesser known cultures. So Lesotho, Guam, Indonesia was pretty hard to come by, authentic Filipino resources, but finding where you can incorporate just one thing. Everyone can use AI nowadays. It's pretty freaking simple. Ask ChatGPT or whatever AI you use, How can I incorporate something from X culture in my day-to-day life? Easy. How can there's so many organizations. When I moved to St. Pete, Tampa Bay area, there's an international festival every year that's held in Pinellas Park, which I never saw advertising for, mind you, but someone told me about it. And it was the coolest thing ever. And if we're doing it, then I know other places are as well. And when I went to that festival, come to find out there's little pockets of people from other countries that have established a little like Filipino community and a little Spanish community, Hispanic community, Chamorro community. So just finding them and saying, hey, I want to learn more about where you're from. And I want my kid to understand more about Irish culture or Samoan culture. And they're so welcoming. It's just putting yourself out there and being like, hey, I know nothing about your culture, but I want to know something. And that means so much to people from other places. If anyone comes up to me and says, I want to learn more about Guam, what can you tell me? 700,000 things I can tell you. And I can tell you one thing that you're going to walk away with out of 20. I don't expect it to stick immediately. So keep going back out there, keep putting yourself out there, keep asking chat how to incorporate things. And I think that's how we bridge the gap is as parents, we have to teach ourselves because we were never taught it. And then we can relay that information to the next generation of children.
Yeah. Well, ChatGPT, I argue with that thing. That's like my second husband. I'm just like, let's get the good stuff out. Like, I don't want all the garbage. I don't want all of the, well, we can do this. Everyone can do this. Give me something different. Dig deeper. Like, I'm like almost ready to tear it apart. Like, I'm like, you need to reboot yourself. You need to turn yourself off. Like, where you're not understanding. But I think it helps in a way, but we have to understand that ChatGPT or any AI program out there, and all my AI programmers out there understand where Miss Liz is coming with this. We have to question it. We cannot just take it for what it is. It might give us information, but you have to really pay attention and don't just use it. Edit. Dig deeper in yourself as well. Why is it giving you this information? And one of my biggest pet peeves, Whitney, and you mentioned it, was resources. We do not know about events. Event planners need to market better because there's so many different events out there that are culture based that are not being promoted enough. They just assume the community knows. They just assume that country knows. You don't know, like you moved to the United States and you didn't know about the events unless you went around and asked, right? And that's one of the things I like to do with Teatime is I like to get the awareness out there. So all of my listeners know this. This is one of Miss Liz's biggest pet peeves. We need to do better marketing for events, especially culture events, so that we can get to know other people as well, not just our countries. And that's why I serve globally, because I don't want to just serve Canada. I want to serve around the world. I want to get to know people from around the globe. What do you like? How do you serve? And that's kind of what your boxes are all about, is getting to know the different countries. I know you're really passionate about Guam because that's where you come from. That's your home, right? What is the second country that has your heart?
Oh, from everywhere I've traveled, I'm a little bit biased because I'm Dutch too. So the Netherlands easily. I was very close with my Oma. I'd say traveling though, the Czech Republic, I am absolutely obsessed with the Czech. And Prague is my hands down favorite place. I will go back there 700 million times before I die. It is so colorful and the people were so nice. It was so much fun. I love that place. Definitely Guam, then the Netherlands, and then traveling to the Czech Republic.
I love that you have an Oma, because Oma is what got me started with Teatime.
Oh,
that's at the age of 4. This tea started at the age of 4. So the virtual world only started in 2019. But I mean, my Oma is what got me started with tea. And she started with words. She gave me a cup of tea and gave me words. And when I was little, I didn't understand the words. Like the little ones won't understand, but they'll remember as they get older. Well, I remember these words. I remember this color. I remember this recipe. We remember things when we start young. And that's what I like about these boxes. I also found out that you have ambassadors. Do you want to tell us a little bit about the culture ambassadors?
Yeah, they're amazing. I mentioned them a little bit earlier of when I grew my team, and they're very important to me. I love them with all of my heart. They are so sweet. Every morning, weekend, Monday specifically, we talk about, hey, what'd you do over the weekend? They send us videos of what their country looks like. Maybe it's how they cooked breakfast. Maybe it's their playground. It's really eye-opening living in the States, seeing how other countries are, especially third world countries that we're partnering with. It's a nice breath of fresh air too, to say like, hey, like we're all doing the same things. Some kids are happier than others, but we are all living our lives to the best that we can. So we hire someone from every country because as we put together a box, and I'll give you an example, we don't want to add in anything that's not culturally appropriate or culturally accurate. And we don't want to add in anything that might have been when America came to their country and gave them a bunch of it. For an example, we were doing the Philippines box, and in the Philippines box, I was going to add in jackstones, which are like the jacks and then a ball that you throw to them. And our Filipina cultural ambassador said, nope, America brought those over during the war. And I was like, okay, so we can't add in those. So we did clackers instead. This is the first time that I had the thought of, oh, toys are the same around the world. So clackers are an easy Filipino toy. It's two balls in the end and they clack, and you go like this and the balls clack, and then they can go up and down. It's called lado lado in Tagalog, but in the States they're called clackers, and clackers have been around here for forever too. And we were like, oh, it's so cool that in the Philippines, lado lado is their toy. In the States, clackers are our toy. It's the same toy. There's just different names for it. And we were like, it's so cool to see that toys are being used across different countries and cultures in the same way, but called differently. And they each think it's authentic to their culture, which is beautiful. But had we not have had a Filipina on our team to say, hey, that really was brought over during war, that's probably not the best accurate representation of our culture and toys, I would have never known that. I've been to the Philippines 6 times and have always seen them there. So I would have never thought twice about if they were authentic or not. So that's why it's important to have cultural ambassadors. Every box that they work on, we actually just sent our Philippines box to 2 Filipinas that we have on our team, so they can see the result of their country. And if they want another country, they're more than welcome to ask us to send them that box as well. If they have kids, we'd more than likely gladly send it. And they're really a big part of our team. It's so cool. I get goosebumps. I will lay in bed at nighttime if they're sending videos back and forth and watch kids on playgrounds swinging and having fun and speaking in their native language and tongue. And it just makes me so happy. I'm like, look, my daughter, I'm like, look at how these kids are, like, look at this Filipina and Filipino, and look at this Venezuelan kid, and look at that playground that they're playing on. And so being able to share that with my family and our team, being able to experience that makes me very happy.
I like that the kids are learning different languages, and
cool.
on the playground talking all these different languages, and then you have somebody looking over and saying, I wonder what country that is. It opens conversation, right? And I like deep educational conversation. So, and if the little kids start hearing different languages and they go up and say, like, what's your language? Instead of bullying them and saying, like, I don't understand your language, like, go away.
English.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Spanish is actually the second spoken language in the United States. So I don't understand why people are saying why learn Spanish for,
I read a Facebook post the other day, and it was a woman that was bilingual at a concert, and a Spanish mom and a Spanish daughter. And the Spanish mom said in Spanish, you need to talk in English. And so the daughter said, well, why, mom? And the mom said, well, we're in America, we have to speak English. And the woman replied back in Spanish and said, no, keep speaking Spanish. I'm fine. It's a beautiful language. The American woman said that. And the mom was so happy and went from being anxious to being like free again. And that's how we should feel. It shouldn't be, don't speak your native tongue. It should be, who cares? It doesn't matter. Like, English is English. It will always be here. I think it's important if someone comes to the States and wants to learn English for them to be around English, for sure. Same with me. When I know a lot of Spanish vocabulary, my sentences aren't that great. And so in order for my sentences to get better, I need to go to a Spanish-speaking country and indulge in the culture, like really put myself there and only speak Spanish. And that's probably one of the only ways that I will kind of fix my vocabulary and sentence structure. So I think there's a time and place for being only English speaking versus just letting, when we're in public and we're talking to our family and friends, there's no reason why you shouldn't be able to speak your native language. I'm not talking to my neighbor, like to the random person beside me. I'm talking to my kid. I can talk to my kid in whatever language I want to talk to my kid, and I shouldn't feel bad about it. So
Absolutely. And I'm with you with that language because I have a granddaughter that's coming and her mom is Mohawk, and I want the baby to know the Mohawk language. I want to encourage that, because their language was ripped from them, when in our country. And I don't want that. I want my granddaughter to actually know her ancestry language so that she can speak it as well. So maybe we can get Mohawk in there.
that would be cool.
Get some Cree, some Ouija Cree and Meetich and all of those native languages in there,
That would
Whitney.
be awesome.
The native tongue, get that out there. I think that would open a lot of doors, and a lot of children would feel free to speak their language. Because I know here a lot of people hold back their language because they're in fear of speaking. So language, let's get that out there. Let's get some more language. How do you find the recipes for these kids?
We use our cultural ambassadors. So they're really a big part of making the box. They help us choose the toys. They help us choose the recipes. Sometimes they'll come to the table with really crazy recipes, and I'm like, I don't even think I can make that. I'm not a great cook. We need to make something that's easy for kids. So we brainstorm together of different easy recipes with like maybe 6 ingredients at most. We brainstorm those together, and then a lot of our team members have kids, so they try to make it with their kid, and if their kid will make it or my daughter will make it, then we use it.
I think it's cool. And there's a lot of free resources when people go to the website. Whitney, if you just want to spell out the website for my audio listeners out there, I like to shoot it in the middle so that people watch the tea time in the middle of the show. They don't just skip to the first and the end. I like to put it in the middle so people can, where's that website? How do we get there? So Whitney, if you could spell out the website for my listeners.
Yeah, so our website is www.globalsprouts, sprouts.com. We have a bunch of free resources. We have recipes, printables, parents' guides so that you can learn about the culture and then the kid. And on all of our social medias, we're Global Sprouts, and you can find videos of every country we've released so far, how they eat, cook, clean, and play. So it's a bunch of really cool resources to see how kids get to school, what their playgrounds look like, what their friends look like. And we use that platform to spread the word.
So Whitney, I want to get into bringing it to the classrooms and homeschooling, speaking workshops, all of that good stuff. Let's get into that now.
Yeah, so we, a big focus of ours is homeschool families, to provide them resources. Not necessarily a curriculum, but something that can enhance their learning via books, guides, workbooks, all of that. I do speaking events all across the country. We're in, I believe it's like 72 preschools. So we're able to send school kits, send boxes to homeschool learning pods, co-ops, all of that. And then I do keynote speaking events across the country to raise awareness, tell my story, and allow people to find a new way of learning, which is hands-on, project-based learning. And I want to kind of talk really fast on what you mentioned earlier about you have to do more research when you use AI. And one of my keynote speaking events or topics is kids now will never know a world without AI. They won't have to dig deep that often. More than likely, they're just going to rely on AI to give them the most accurate information. And it's up to the parents to teach kids to do better and be better. And the way that we do that is by critical thinking and problem solving. You have to have those skills. So all of our boxes come with a homeschool or a resource guide, lesson plans that's focused on project-based learning. So you ask your kids those 4 questions is you determine what you want to talk about, then you research it, then you build it, and then you reflect on it. So having those 4 steps in project-based learning is really what kids need nowadays. And that's what we're out to do.
I love that word reflect, because that was one of the words my Oma gave me at the age of 4.
That's awesome.
You know, we need to learn to reflect. I don't feel that the children are being learned how to reflect on things and problem solving. You know, we're a lot of enablers. Like, a lot of parents are enabling their children. Oh, well, you don't need to learn that. We'll get to that later. Or they throw a device at them. Where I like your boxes, they're hands on. There's no device involved. It's educational. And that's what we need, is the hands on, right? Problem solving, 100%. You know, AI can't take us over, guys, if we use our heads. You know, keep problem solving. There's a solution for everything out there. Whitney, a question that just came in is, how can storytelling be a healing tool, not only for children, but for adults as well?
Oh, I mean, I think it's talking to all of our inner child, right? It's what do we need to change based. I think the like new word right now is childhood trauma, right? It's like everyone has childhood trauma. How do we work through it? And I did it in quotes because I think it might be a little bit overused now and everyone's falling into it as their excuse for things instead of being understanding like, hey, we missed a huge gap in our generation to no fault of anyone's. We just weren't prepared or we didn't understand. And so now being able to sit down and say, okay, this is kind of what's going on. This is what's going to happen. Really using these stories to rewrite that and change it for the next generation, I think is powerful and impactful.
I think so, you know, and I'm with you with that. Childhood trauma is not a lot. It doesn't give you permission to have bad attitude.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
it doesn't give you permission to be an asshole either.
Right. And I like that you keep saying that, Whitney, because you know what? There are a bunch of little assholes out there because they use this, they play on this, the childhood trauma. Yes, we all have a story, and yes, we've all been through stuff, including myself, but that doesn't give you the right to be a little asshole.
No, it doesn't. And it should make you feel empowered to not be like that. Like, look at the world around us. I did a presentation for Global Sprouts before we had even launched. And what I found was I was in a room filled with older white men talking about my business. And one gentleman said, "You're not convincing me that this box is worth $50. I was like, okay, let me brainstorm a little bit more about how I can convince you. One woman spoke up and she said, "He's not your target market. Don't worry about it, honey." You're right. I did some news ads. A bunch of the people that were negatively commenting were also older white gentlemen. And then I had one guy in the side of the room stand up and said, "Dude, have you looked around the room recently? There's no diversity here. This is the issue. And this is what she's solving for. So that in 20 years from now, when her kid walks into the room for a business presentation, it's not old white men." And I was like, you know what? That's the type of energy we need. He noticed the room, said, this isn't what it should look like, and said, we need to solve for this, not say, oh, nothing needs to change. I didn't do anything wrong in my life. And so just having that one little click of information, I think, makes the world a difference.
Well, I think it goes into the question that came in is, if empathy were a color, what would it be and why? Empathy is something we all need to learn. So, Whitney, if it was for you, what color would it be and why?
Blue, because it's vast and deep, and we need to understand it across the entire world.
I like it. And water. Water brings us all together.
Yep. Water's
You
our
know,
our connection.
right? We all got to get on the boat and roll it one time in our
Exactly.
life, right? We either sink or we carry on to the next island and we get to the new countries. So, Whitney, I want to get it out there a little bit. Is your favorite children's story growing up that you would like to put into this box maybe one day?
Mm. Huh. I really like Goodnight Guam. That's a good one. And I don't know. I like to write my own stories. I think writing a story about my daughter would be better than any of the stories. We were singing a nursery rhyme or a lullaby. I don't know, one of the like older songs. And our friend was like, "You can't sing that anymore. That's not culturally accurate. Really bad song." And I was like, "Okay, I won't do that." And then I'm like, the more I research the songs, I'm like, I grew up singing these, and now I'm trying to raise my kids singing these, and like we can't sing them anymore. So now I'm up this creek of like, what do I do? And my mom sung to my little sister, "I'm a little fishy swimming in the water, hugs and kisses all day long." And then she'd like, "I'm a little cutie, just like my booty." And so like now I'm singing that like rhyme to my daughter because I know that that one is fine because my mom made it up. And so I think writing a story based on like my childhood and making that a cool everlasting story, or my daughter's childhood, would be really cool.
Whitney, when you were little, did you hope there would be boxes like this out there for you?
I didn't. I didn't because I loved going to the beach and that's all my world consumed of. I never wanted to leave the island of Guam. The reason I left my senior year was because my mom told me we were going to the Outer Banks of North Carolina and we were going to the beach and it would be fine. Guam has really clear water and great coral reefs. And if you know anything about the Outer Banks of North Carolina, it is not crystal clear water and there's not beautiful coral reefs. I remember walking out to the beach for the first time and being like, "You want me to get in that water? That water's brown. I can't see what's in that water." She was like, "Whitney, don't be a drama queen." Ended up loving it. I did love North Carolina. But I totally felt like I got gypped. I was like, this is not Guam. And so I do remember, though, very, very clearly that when I was 7, we would drive by parcels, like brick and mortar stores that were for rent. I would ask my mom every time we drove by one. I was like, "We should rent that out and have a business. We should rent that out and have a business." And it continued and continued. When I was in high school, I would buy horses and flip them for profit. I was always doing something entrepreneurial. And my sister has the same thing. Every summer she comes to live with me in Florida. The first summer she was here, she started walking dogs and made, I think, like $2,000. The second summer, she made bracelets. I think she made like $3,500. Last summer, what did she do last summer? She babysat my daughter, for sure. So she made good money doing that. And so it's really cool to see the entrepreneurial spirit that lives within us. Both of my parents aren't entrepreneurs. They were both in the military. So seeing that is super cool. So I assumed that I would do something. I loved Guam. I wanted to share my culture with the world, but I didn't quite know that having a kid and not having access to resources would build the boxes. So I'm very grateful for that.
Well, I'm grateful that you put these boxes together. And for all the young entrepreneurs out there, what message would you have for them, Whitney?
Do not be scared to make a decision. Indecisive people are the reason that things don't get done. And I'm going to give you a great example, Miss Liz, because it blows my mind that women do this to themselves. And I think it's because I just don't care about making a decision that much. When we go to the nail salon, they give us 30 different shades of blue. I go in there and I'm like, this is the blue I want. They're like, "Are you sure?" And I'm like, "I don't care. I'm going to come back in 4 weeks and change it, or 2 weeks." I don't get my nails done that often, but when I was, And I would, or if I don't like it, I'll go home and take it off. It'll be okay. Like, or just go back in and get a new color, or ask them when they're painting my nails to change it. But so often people sit there for 30 minutes trying to pick out a shade of blue. It's really not that big of a deal. Same with any decision in life. It's really not that big of a deal unless it's like life or death, right? So I think to anyone out there in any stage of their life, any career path they're on, is just make the decision. If you make a mistake, you can change it and fix and make a new decision. That's what I think it is. It's just decide. It's fine.
Right.
We all make mistakes.
Just try. And if you don't like it, then you can try again.
Exactly.
Right? I hear so many people saying, well, I want to do this and I want to do this. Just do it. If it works, it works. If it failed, it failed. At least you tried, right? Just make a choice. Like the energy that is wasted on just words of saying, I want to do,
you could have done it by then.
Right? You could have been 10 projects ahead of yourself. Just do it. I'm so glad that you're sitting here at this table and telling all my young listeners out there, because we have to encourage kids to stop being afraid. Just try. And I love that you gave that example with the nail polish, because it is true. Like, we waste so much time just picking a color and picking a flavor or picking a food, or you go to a restaurant. I don't know what I want to eat. But you already knew what you wanted to eat before you got here, because it was already in your mind. Oh, I want a burger, or I want a fry, or you know what I mean? You already knew. But you get the menu and then there's too much to choose from. And then you're just like, oh, I don't know. Right? Yeah. Too many options.
Very true. And it's funny. I was reading The Diary of a CEO, the book, the other day. And in it, I was thinking like, oh, does Global Sprouts need 3 different options to choose from? Like a mini box, a box, then like a premium box? Because that's what consumers want, is they want to be oversaturated with ideas and options so that they can pick the best one. Ultimately, it's just tricking them into picking the normal box anyways, just a marketing play. But we're accustomed to having 17 different options now. That makes us spiral out of control. And it's taken me a while to get there, but I just walk into 1,700 options and I just put my finger down and that's what I roll with. And then I like it or I don't like it. And if I don't like it, I change it. And I'm like, that's the beauty of freedom, is not holding yourself down to make that decision, or, oh my God, I made a mistake. Why did I do that? It's okay. I made a choice, not a mistake. I made a choice and I don't like that choice. Now I'm going to fix it. It's not, oh, I made a mistake and I beat myself up. It's getting out of that mindset and turning it into, oh, I made a choice. I made a great choice at that moment in time. I thought that was the best choice. Yay, now I get to make another great choice. I think that mindset is really the shift we all need.
And Whitney, we have one question here. One sentence you want every parent to tell their child each day.
I love you and I'm so proud of you.
We need more of that. Absolutely. So you're fine. Absolutely, right? We need those words out there, not just when they accomplish something, and just come up to them and say, hey, I'm proud of you. And then I do that to my kids, and they're grown. They're in their 30s and they're like, Mom, what did I do? I'm just proud of you. Like, proud that you did this today, or proud that you tried that. Whitney, what is your final message to all the listeners out there? And again, get your website out there, and then we'll wrap it up.
Yeah, I'm proud of all of you listeners. I'm proud of you taking an hour of your day to hear someone else's story and carving out that hour of you time, which I think is so important for all of us to do, to grow and shift that mindset change. So you can find me at Whit from Guam on social media, or Global Sprouts. And my website is globalsprouts.com.
Well, thank you so much. It was truly a pleasure to sit with you today and to have you as my 500th episode. We're planting sprouts together and we're making a difference. So keep doing what you're doing, Whitney, and thank you for today. I'm just going to wrap up with a closing summary of what we talked about, and then we're going to wrap it up. And Miss Liz will be back with November's guest next week. What a beautiful journey around the globe we shared today. Whitney, thank you for teaching us that children grow stronger when they grow outwards, learning about different cultures, voices, and ways of life. Global Sprout is more than just a subscription box. It is a doorway into curiosity, a garden of learning, a celebration of the world's diversity, placed right into small hands with big dreams. Tonight, this afternoon, we leave with a reminder that every child deserves to see themselves in the story of humanity while honoring the stories of others. When we raise kinder, more aware children, we grow a kinder, more aware world. Until we meet again at this table, keep nurturing connection, keep celebrating culture, and keep planting seeds of global love one little sprout at a time. And I'll see everybody next week, same time, same place, and we'll do this all over again.